Hare Krishna. So basically we are going to see the importance of scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwatam, and how they can affect and shape the future of children if they are inculcated from early life. Okay, so we'll watch this.
When he says that by studying Srimad Bhagwatam, one will become more than MA, PhD, it's something that he means very seriously, right? It's very much true. I'll just give you one more experience or example. I remember the first time when I went to college, our story was a little bit unusual in that we entered the university at quite an early age. And when I first started at the university, I was just 12 years old. And I went into the class. I still remember the first day of the first class I took. It was such a, nervous. I was so nervous, and I didn't know what to expect and so on. The class, as it had worked out, I had originally, there was someone at the restaurant, Govindas, who used to come, and he knew we were homeschooling, and he said, he told my parents, Ravi's level of English is pretty good. Why don't you register him for a course at the local university? You can get admission for one course, and this way it'll supplement your homeschool education. And so my parents thought, oh, that's a good idea. Let's try. And we went there and showed them some records of what I had written, some articles for BTG and test scores that we were taking regularly and so on. And the admissions officer says, okay, you can go in for one English writing course, English 101. So I was happy I went there to register, but as it turned out, because I was not a degree-seeking student, all the courses were full by the time I went to register, all the 101 courses. So the person who suggested this, he was actually the chair of the English department. He said, no, I know, Ravi, I know you. Instead of 101, why don't you take the second semester English course, 102? So I thought, okay, this is college level, but I'll give it a try. Went to register, and it was also full. And so I thought, okay, not worry. He said, no, don't worry about it. He came back and said, why don't you sign up for the first semester English honors writing course, 111? No, just do it. It'll be fine. I went to register, and it wasn't being offered that semester. So then what? He said, sign up for the second semester English honors writing course. That's being offered, 112. And indeed, I got into that. The first day I went to class, I will never forget. I was so nervous. And all these students there who were twice my age, and the teacher handed out the syllabus. And because this is an honors writing course, it was all classical literature. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey in translation, Shakespeare's Hamlet, Bless Me Ultima by Rudolfo Anaya, different Mexican Chicano writers, all classical English literature. I was so nervous. I thought, how am I going to do this? I've never even read any Shakespeare. We had spent all our time reading Bhagavatam. And so we started, so the assignment started. Every week we had to read a book and write a paper on it. And the teacher was surprisingly very impressed by the not just the writing, but the content of the ideas. So much of what I had studied in Bhagavatam and our Shastras was applying directly. It gave me the tools I needed to think about that material that was given at a college level, even though I'd never read it before. Shakespeare's Hamlet, for example. Hamlet's story is just like the story of Arjun in Bhagavad Gita. He's also faced with a family crisis. The crisis also demands that he take violent action against his relatives. He cannot get himself to do it. It ends in a catastrophe at the end, a tragedy. The only difference was that Arjun had Krishna's advice and Hamlet didn't, right? But otherwise, very similar story. So the point is, writing a paper about that, I was going, wow, Shakespeare here, he's talking about reincarnation. Did anyone notice it? And the teacher was really happy with it. I remember the Homer's Odyssey. they were always talking about these kings and the Greek, heroes and so on. And every time they'd stop and they'd have a big banquet and meal and drink and so on. And I remember writing an article on the nature of eating and banquets in Homer's Odyssey. And that came all from Chaitanya Charitamrita. You see, because you see Chaitanya Charitamrita, every time something happens, they're all sitting down to take prasadam together. Half the book is about, they went here, they went there, they danced 1 hour in kirtan, and then they had sat down, took prasadam together. And there was rice and this and that and 6 types of ingredients here, and then there's a long list, 20 items, and then it goes on, they went, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked for some more time, did more kirtan, and then there was prasad, and then so the point being is that the ability to think philosophically, to think intellectually, culturally, emotional maturity, all of that is found there in the Shastras, in Prabhupada's books. And what today's educators and what today's employers are looking for are those kinds of skills. Like Mataji was saying earlier, it's not the facts and figures they're looking for, right? That you've memorized so much information, you know what's right, what's wrong. Because that all will change, right? By the time the kids grow up, if they learn this many facts, well, getting facts is not today's issue, right? Acquiring information is not the problem of our age. The problem of our age is exactly the opposite. We've got way too much information, way too much data on our hands, and among the top 10 skills that employers are looking for today, just recently I was attending one of this at the Career Center for our majors at the university, and like number 3 or 4 was how to process data. How to analyze it, how to make sense of it, how to evaluate it, how to prioritize it. Those are the skills they're looking for. And that's exactly what Bhagavatam is teaching. You see all of these books, they're all conversations, all dialogues. When do you hear Arjun saying, "Oh Krishna, whatever you said, wow, that was a scary universal form, I guess I'm going to do what you said"? Does he ever say that? Krishna cannot scare him into doing anything. Arjuna is very intelligent. He always asks Krishna. He says, Krishna, what you were saying here, that's a contradiction. I don't understand. Beginning of chapter 3, he says. Then chapter 5, he repeats the same thing over. He says, Krishna, I'm still confused. You're still contradicting yourself. Krishna tries again. The entire Bhagavatam is like that also. Right? So it's not valuing blind learning. It's not religious education in the way we think of religion from India. Beta baith ke karo, chupchap karo. Nay, don't ask me any questions. Just do it. It's good for you. This is not what Bhagavatam is teaching at all. Right? So Prabhupada, he sharpened the intelligence of his disciples by using Bhagavatam. This is what he wanted our kids to do as well. And the benefit of that is by doing this. Why with Bhagavatam? Why not with the Hamlet? And why not with the Odyssey? Is because by studying Bhagavatam, it will transform their character. By associating with Bhagavatam, they'll become wonderful devotees of the Lord. Krishna will there, it says, Krishna svadhamo pagate dharma jnanadi visa. That when Krishna left this world, he came back to this world in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is directly Krishna himself. So we're putting our children in direct association of Krishna. How can there be any problem with that? And how can there be any loss? Krishna says, I am the intelligence of the intelligent. So we put our children in direct association with Krishna. They will turn out to be great devotees of the Lord. At the same time, they will also end up being very successful materially. It's a win-win situation. And therefore, right from the start, as soon as children can read, we need to read with them Srimad Bhagavatam. And my mother is going to talk about some of the techniques how to do that now.